Alice, if you get the job this time, you'll have been a SAB for 2 years by the end of your term. You're a student for 3 years. Aren't you just vanishing from the student perspective?
I don't think so. I think I'm still got my ear to the ground. I still know a lot of students here. I've been visible this year, and I'll be even more visible next year because we've had as you know, an internal focus this year on making Union, making it come up to scratch, be more professional internally, and next year I'll be even more externally focused. And I actually think that the Union will benefit massively from my experience and the continuity that we'll have. I won't need any on-the-job training.
Why haven't you promised 24-hour library this time in your campaign?
I've promised extended library opening hours.
That's not 24 hours.
Because, and if you let me finish, I'll explain why. Because actually, I don't think we are going to get a completely 24-hour library, and perhaps we shouldn't. And I think that's what the 24-hour campaign decided this year. We looked at it and we felt that perhaps in the first 2 or 3 weeks of Michaelmas term, the 24-hour library was not the way to go, both tactically with the campaign and just in terms of student welfare. However, what I will be pushing for is a 24-hour library at key points in the year when there are essays and other things to be done, and extended opening, particularly in the vacation time for postgrads and part-time students.
You and your team have been heavily criticised this year for being far too future-focused, with a lot of focus on union reforms, the NUB and staffing issues. What are you going to do if you get it again in order to ensure that current students aren't forgotten and the experience for them is changed rapidly?
I don't think we have forgotten current students. I think we've made a huge number of advances on things like the nursery. Our links with the nursery are amazing. We've saved it. We have extended library opening hours this year, and we are going to build plans for next year. That's not in doubt. Emmanuel has done loads of work on teaching. We've benefited from having a strong SAB team for the first time, really, in my time here, that's not had just strong officers, but has actually worked as a team.
But the members of the executive complained that because of your focus on these issues, that their campaigns, like awareness weeks this year, have been very poor. And so in that way, current students have been in a way forgotten. Are you going to promise to change that for next year if you get back in?
The reason awareness weeks haven't happened as much is because we said to the part-timers at the start of the year, if you don't want to do an awareness week and waste your whole year planning for just 1 week of events, don't. Do a whole year-round campaign, do events all the year round. And that's what exec members have done this year. And where they have done awareness weeks, I've supported them. I don't think the General Secretary has ever been booking Women's Week events in the past. I was. So we have supported them. We have focused on stuff in the here and now. But we've also sorted out the things that in the long term and in the short term will see benefits. Things like the move to the STA offices have seen massive benefits within a couple of weeks. The culture of the union has changed. I feel like I'm working for a completely different organisation. Just have been in my old office, and it's like East Berlin apartments in 1989. You know, it was stopped in time. It's like a museum. I think we're so much more visible, so much better organised, and that can only be a good thing for students.
But what would you say was your biggest mistake or your biggest failing of the past year that you'd like to correct next year?
I think in terms of I wouldn't say anything we've done is like a massive mistake. I think there have been oversights. But they've been a natural consequence of prioritising certain things. So I do think we could have, as you said, we could have had more of a focus, we have been very, very internally focused, that is true, but we've still done a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But I think the main thing is not communicating that as well to students as we could have. That's the oversight we've had of why we're doing it. And there have been some reasons why we can't communicate some of the things we're doing, but I think we could have been a bit more conscious of that. From the very beginning. But I think in the last couple of weeks we've certainly been a lot more open and accessible to students to talk about this, and I've made it a key part of my campaign to be honest and frank about what's been going on this year, why I felt that was the right way to go, and if students think it wasn't, then they have the opportunity to vote me out. But I think most students will realise the union needs to look at what it's doing internally. It hasn't done that within living memory. I just wish we'd communicated it a bit better.
You talk about more accessibility. You moved down to STA Travel a few weeks ago. Hack Attack accused you of now we can see how little work you actually do, whereas you put the hours in, however it's a lot of chatting. Was that a mistake moving down there, so you're distracted the whole time by students wandering in and out?
I think Hack Attack are not the place to get one's news from. I don't think we have been doing less work since we moved in there. We work well before 10, well after 5 every day. The chatting that you see is actually SABs communicating. The biggest problem we've had is we've had 2 SABs up on this corridor, one stuck behind reception, one up there. I had to make 3 phone calls just to say, can we have a chat about this issue, can we arrange a meeting? Now I just peer over my desk and say, Are you free at 3 o'clock? Yes, yes, yes. We'll meet then. It saves so much time. I've been sending so fewer emails. We're less bureaucratic. We have more time to be visionary and be creative. And also it is accessible in the most basic sense because it's actually disabled access. So that users with wheelchairs, mobility issues or anything else can actually come to my room. And it isn't in the most remote part of LSE.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right.